All right, good morning, guys. Welcome to court. We are waiting on Wilton Gerard to come up to see if he is going to get granted parole or if it's going to be denied. Okay, we have two other people on the docket, so definitely stay tuned. Court will be in session in just one moment. Please make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing to the video, to the channel, letting a friend know. Let's go.
be having all flat time. I've been refused, and the reason how I got into this program here, because I used my denial from the board to show them that this is what I need. And that was the only program that I can take. When I talked to my case manager, he told me that he gonna see if he can put me in thanking for a change. He said, and this was like 2 weeks ago. So they are trying to work with me now, you know, to give me the things I need so I can get out, go back to my family.
Answer a couple more questions for me, and I'm going to solve your problem. Okay. When was your last disciplinary write-up?
I haven't had one here, Winfield. My 20 years in Angola. I had 18 years due to my discharge without a disciplinary write-up.
So when is the last disciplinary write-up you had?
about 97 or 98.
What is your job at Plaquemine? What do you do on a regular basis?
There's no here. I don't have a job here.
What do you do 24 hours a day?
Clean the dome up, dome all.
Oh, you're a dorm auditor. Okay. That's a job assignment.
Yes, that's a job, but it's not really listed as a job. It's, volunteer.
What sort of vocational skills do you have? Were you employed at the time you were incarcerated?
Yes, I had a food trailer. I learned that trade when I was in prison in Angola, and that's what I was doing on the street, dealing with different festivals and everything. When I was in prison, I worked 20 years in the kitchen.
You said a food truck?
Yes, yes, sir.
So you had culinary arts talent?
Yes.
And what did you do before you were incarcerated?
Before I was incarcerated, I used to do a little landscaping work. Uncle of mine, he had a landscaping business, and I used to work with him.
Have you ever had a 40-hour-a-week job and paid taxes to the United States?
Cajun, it's Cajun Cement Company in 1988.
Now, Mr. Gerard, I'm only one vote. But I'm going to grant your request today.
Yes, sir.
Based upon you completing the current substance abuse program that you're in.
Yes, sir.
100 hours pre-release.
Yes, sir.
Anger management.
Yes, sir.
And thinking for a change.
Yes, sir.
You'll have 9 months from today to get those completed.
Yes, sir.
If you don't complete the substance abuse program, 100 hours pre-release, anger management, and thinking for a change, this decision will be rescinded.
Yes, sir.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
This decision will be null and void.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Willis, any questions?
No.
Mr. Gerard, is there anything you'd like to say to us before the panel votes?
Yes. I'd like to say that thank you, the board, for the denial that I have received in 20. Because I truly did not know that I had a serious alcohol and drug problem. And I want to say thank you.
Thank you, sir. Panel ready to vote?
Yes.
Ms. Roche?
Mr. Lord, I'm going to conditionally grant your request today.
Yes, sir.
That's conditioned on you completing your current substance use program, completing 100 hours pre-release,
Yes, sir.
being anger management,
So,
and completing thinking for a change.
yes, sir.
That's a heavy load, but I think you deserve a chance, but I cannot release you without some program.
Yes, sir.
After release, I want you to have a curfew from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Yes, sir.
I want you to attend at least 3 NAAA meetings a week.
Yes, sir.
And I want you to have random drug screens by your parole officer.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Mr. Freeman?
I concur with Mr. Roche. I'm also going to grant you conditional on the same conditions as he's already stated with the same special condition.
Mr. Gerard, you have 2 votes to conditionally grant your parole. I agree with my colleagues. Your parole is conditionally granted upon your completing the program you're currently in, as well as taking 100 hours of pre-release, anger management, and thinking for a change. So you understand what's expected of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you need to kind of make sure you try to get in all those programs. We're gonna put in our recommendations and hope that you get to a point where you can facilitate your getting there. If you can complete those within 9 months, you'll get out with the following conditions: curfew, 3 AA meetings a week, and random drug testing.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you, sir.
Recording in progress.
The Committee on Parole is called back to order. We are still at Plaquemines Parish. Our next case is Mr. Donald Johnson. Are you Mr. Johnson?
Yes,
Mr. Johnson, if you would please give us your full name and DOC number.
Don Wayne Johnson, 747021.
Mr. Johnson, let me explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record. Then the board is going to conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we will allow the participants who've indicated they wish to speak to have their input. You don't have anyone here to speak for you, but you do have two people present observing on Zoom, and that is both of your daughters, Deshawn and Donisha Johnson, are both present and on Zoom here today. At the end, you'll be allowed to make a brief statement before the board votes. Do you understand our process, sir?
Yes,
This is the matter of Donald W. Johnson, DOC number 747021. Mr. Johnson's date of birth is May the 20th of 1967. He is a third-time felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of June the 12th, 2022, a good time date of December the 12th of 2023, and a full term date of September the 12th of 2033. He is currently serving a 15-year sentence on the charges of possession with heroin, possession with intent to distribute heroin, possession of cocaine, possession with intent to distribute methamphetamines, possession of tramadol, possession of amphetamines, selling and a legend drug, possession of methamphetamines, distribution of heroin, possession with intent to distribute methamphetamines, possession with intent to distribute clonazepam, and possession with intent to distribute heroin, all of which were sentenced on June the 24th of 2019. Mr. Johnson, does that all sound pretty accurate to you?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson, your case has been assigned to Mr. Alvin Roche. Mr. Roche will begin our interview process. Would you please answer any questions he might have?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Mr. Johnson.
How you doing, Mr. Roche?
I'm good, Mr. Johnson. I want you to listen to me carefully.
Okay.
I'm going to make you an offer. At the end of my presentation, you tell me whether or not you accept my offer or not.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson, you're currently 55 years old.
Yes.
Been convicted of 3 felonies. And you've served, you've been in since 2018. So you've served about 4 years on a 15-year sentence.
Yes.
And you have a serious drug problem. So listen to my offer. Mr. Johnson is 55 years old. He's been incarcerated 4 years. He has a very serious drug problem. His parole date was June 12th, 2022. Mr. Johnson, I cannot release you with the drug problem that you have. Either you are a serious drug dealer or you are a drug addict. What are you?
I'll be honest with you. I've been selling drugs most of all my life. It's something that I just got caught up in from just living in my environment in Compton. And I sit up there and, you know, times got hard. I came out here to Louisiana and I got caught up in the mix again.
Mr. Johnson, look like you're proud of being a drug dealer.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm proud of. I mean, you know, difficult times call for difficult things, and I sit up there and just went back to what I know best. I mean,
That's not a good reason to go back to selling drugs.
I know it's not.
Can you imagine the people that you've hurt? The pain and anguish that you've caused so many people and so many families.
Yes, I do.
Are you a drug addict?
No. I'm being honest with you, I'm not a drug addict.
Okay, what type of drugs did you use when you used drugs?
I stopped smoking weed in 1988.
So you're not a drug addict, but you perpetuated the drug culture and made sure everybody had the poison they needed in order to live a unproductive, and maybe you kill somebody over a period of time where you were selling drugs.
No, never.
Oh, you don't know that. You just don't know that.
Well, I mean, you can't sit up there. I just can't say that. I guess you're right. You can't say that for certain, but I mean, I know it's for me sitting up there with the self-help books and stuff I've been reading. There's been a lot of victims, and I didn't think about the impact of what I was doing to them, their family, and I never really thought about that.
How long did you use marijuana?
Oh boy, I used marijuana. I mean, I started smoking marijuana in junior high school, so all the way up until I was about like 19.
Mr. Johnson, be honest with me. What type of drugs did you experiment with? You were a drug dealer throughout your life, probably for the last 30, 40 years. So tell me what drugs you experiment with, because I know you use some of your drugs.
I'm being honest with you. I really don't, I don't use drugs. I just don't. I'm just being honest with you.
So you realize the effect that drugs have on people.
Yeah, I
You were smart enough not to
use them,
become addicted to drugs because you know they were addictive. And
right?
you probably sold drugs at a cheap price to a first-time user to get them hooked so you could sell some more drugs.
That's true. Like I said, I never really just thought about all the impact I was doing to everybody.
Mr. Johnson, the plan I have for you won't work because I thought you might be a drug addict, and I was going to send you to a long-term substance abuse program to give you some help with your problem.
I understand, but I'm not gonna lie to you and just
But your problem is you're short of compassion, you have no regard for human life, and your aim in life is to make money and to see people suffer.
no, that's not true.
But it has to be true. If you sold drugs for 30, 40 years, you've been convicted and then you sold drugs again.
Yeah, I mean, fell on hard times. I just went to what I knew.
Actually, Mr. Marabella finished reading, I thought you had a drugstore.
No, I ain't got no drugs. Like I said, I'm not gonna come here and just lie and just tell you something that
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Mr. Johnson. But you have no compassion for the human race. The only thing you're interested in is the bottom line. How much money can I make without going to work 40 hours a week?
that's not true. I mean, if it wasn't sitting up there, I got a journeyman license. I'm a full-time electrician.
And why do you sell drugs?
I just sit up there and just at the time, the work got bad, and I mean, I just sit up there.
You were making $25, $30 an hour.
That's true. And I just fell behind on my union dues with the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I fell behind and I just got
So you just took the easy way out.
basically, you know,
Okay. Mr. Johnson, what is your job at the facility?
I was on the outside crew. I was working outside, working in the community, hallway trustee, and I was cooking in the kitchen.
Mr. Johnson, when is your last disciplinary write-up?
I haven't never had none the whole time I've been down.
Mr. Johnson, I'm going to tell you up front. I'm going to tell you up front, you have a good time date in 13 months.
Yeah,
Am I correct?
that's right.
I'm going to deny you today
All
and
right.
let you get out on your good time date.
So just serve the
I
whole.
would advise you to take as many programs as you can in the 13 months, because you haven't taken that many programs.
Been here for 3 years. There's no program to take. I've been here for 3 years. Trying to get the program.
Okay, I'm talking right now. And get as many programs as you can. If you can get into and line up your electrician license or whatever, so you have a job when you are released in 13 months, and you won't come back to a correction facility.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anything you'd like to say, Mr. Johnson, before the panel votes?
Yes. You think I can get to a work release program or something so I can have some type of funds when I get out, so I can pay my union dues and get back on track? So I won't have to revert back to any kind of illegal activity, because right now I've been here for 3-some years and nothing. And it's like saying serve the 13 more months, which would be 5 years and 3 months. I'm getting out with basically nothing. And I'm starting back over and I'm gonna be back in the same position. So it's like a lose-lose situation for me. Continue serving this time, get out, be back where I started from, and try to make a way for myself. So
Sad that you think that way, Mr. Johnson. It's very sad for me to hear that the only way you think you can make a living, unless we give you a job right now, is to go back to selling drugs. So
that's
thank you for, Mr. Roche, you ready to vote?
Yes. Mr. Johnson, based on a lack of rehabilitative program, law enforcement opposition, I deny your request in the proximity of your good time date.
Thank you, Mr. Roche. Mr. Freeman?
I also deny with the same.
Mr. Johnson, my vote is likewise the same. I hope that when you get out, you change your attitude, because if you think the only way you're going to be able to stay out and make a living is to do drugs, to deal drugs, you're going to be right back where you are now. Good luck to you.
all right. Have a good day.
Okay, the parole board is called back to session. The time is 12:34. It's October the 20th of 2022. We are at Terrebonne Parish work release. Our next case is Mr. Brian Derwin. How do you pronounce your name, sir?
Derwin.
I'm sorry?
Derwin?
Derwin, okay. Mr. Derwin, the members of the panel today are Mr. Alvin Roche, who is to my left, Mr. Pete Freeman to my right. My name is Tony Marabella. I'll be acting as chair. With the staff there at Terrebonne, please introduce themselves. Is there anyone in there with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me explain to you what our procedure is today. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and the board's going to conduct a parole interview with you. At the appropriate time, we'll allow the participants who've indicated they wish to speak to have their input. At the end, the board will vote. It's my understanding that Mr. Brian Benoit, who is your work release supervisor, wishes to speak. I don't know if Mr. Benoit is on the Zoom. Is Mr. Benoit on Zoom with us? Do you know if Mr. Benoit intended to be here? I know we had a little problem finding you this morning.
He was supposed to be on the phone. How you doing, sir? It's Warden Hornsby. He was supposed to call you guys during this meeting.
Good morning, Warden. Thank you very much. We had a little difficulty getting this case. We thought we had continued it because we didn't realize where Mr. Derwin was. But I don't believe we had any contact today with Mr. Benoit. We have not had any contact with him today.
And we've tried.
And we have tried to do that. Are you ready to proceed, Mr. Derwin?
Yes, sir.
This is Brian Derwin, DOC number 503654, date of birth January the 4th of 1988. He's classified as a fourth felony offender. He has a parole eligibility date of July the 20th of 2022, an adjusted good time date of February the 26th of 2023, and a full term date of January 21st of 2027. He is currently serving an 8-year sentence, 8-year, 1 month, and 19-day sentence on attempted possession with intent to distribute marijuana. He had been revoked, possession with intent to distribute methamphetamines, where he had been revoked, and contraband, which he had been revoked, as well as possession with intent to distribute marijuana. Is all of that accurate, Mr. Derwin?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Derwin, your case was assigned to me, so I'll begin our interview process, okay? How old are you, sir?
34.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
This time right here, 20 months.
Tell me about your charges. Tell me what's going on with you. Who is Brian Derwin? Is he a drug addict? Is he a drug dealer? What's your issues?
I went to pick up some marijuana for somebody and got pulled over on a traffic stop.
Well, that doesn't answer my question. Are you a drug dealer? Are you a drug user, or what?
I don't use it. I was going to get it for somebody.
So you don't use drugs?
No, not
Have you
anymore.
ever used drugs?
I haven't in the last 2 years.
Well, you used drugs before that?
Yes, sir.
What kind of drugs did you use before that?
Methamphetamines.
How long were you using methamphetamines?
About 2 years off and on.
Now, you've been in prison for 20 months. You said you haven't used in 2 years. So you were using right before you got arrested, right?
No, that was back in 15.
Well, you told me a minute ago you hadn't used drugs in 2 years. Now, you want to correct that and say 7 years or what? I'm just trying to get some honest answers. Mr. Derwin, I'm not trying to hide the ball. I'm trying to figure out if you're a drug addict. If you're a drug addict, I want to get you some help. If you're a drug dealer, then I need to do something else with you. That's all I'm trying to figure out. This isn't a trick. This isn't anything of any significance or consequence. We have evaluations on you that show that you are a tremendously high risk for reoffending, and that you got a drug problem. Now, you tell me you don't. So what am I supposed to believe? Our evaluations or you? You know, you're getting out in 2023. I'm sounding like I'm hearing a man that says, look, I'm getting ready to get out. I ain't got time to mess with all this stuff. So, I mean, what do you want me to do? What do you expect to do today? What do you expect this outcome to be?
To grant me parole to be released, to be with my family.
Well, I hear all of that. Why should I do that? Why should I do that when I can't figure out if you're a drug abuser, a drug addict, or a drug dealer? I mean, you won't answer my questions.
I went to jail back in 2015, did some time, I got out. I was home for 28 months and didn't do no drugs. I went to get some marijuana for somebody and got pulled over. And then I came to jail this time.
Okay, well, why should, I mean, you were out on parole
Yes, sir.
and you got revoked because you were on parole and you still went to buy marijuana? You didn't, I mean, you may call yourself a mule, you may call yourself whatever you're doing, you're dealing drugs.
Yes, sir.
So tell me about that. Why should I think you're not going to go back to doing that?
Because I learned my lesson
What did you learn? That you got caught?
that it's not legal to possess any drugs or sell them.
You didn't know that when you went to prison the first time, that it's not legal to possess illegal drugs? Come on. We're being honest with each other. Right now, my vote is deny you and move you forward. Let you get out at 23 and do whatever it is you want to do. Convince me otherwise.
I'm holding a job.
You got a job and you're doing well, but you're also in a structured environment. The times you've been out on supervision, you've always committed crimes and come back. So what's different now? Have you taken any programs while you've been in jail for the last 20 months?
No, they haven't offered any at where I was at.
Well, did you try to get into any?
I wrote Lafayette when I first came to jail.
What kind of programs did you try to get into? So what programs do you think you need?
I mean, I'm not an addict.
You used meth for a couple of years.
Right. And then I did reentry and went home and I didn't do no drugs then. But I did go and buy some for somebody.
And that makes it okay?
No.
You knew that was wrong. Come on.
Right.
What programs do you think can help you? What programs were you trying to get into in Lafayette?
This time right here, I tried to get into reentry.
You have law enforcement opposition, your risk assessment. As far as I see on here, the evaluation is that you are a high risk. That tells me that there's a very, very strong chance if I vote to let you out, you're coming back. So why should I let you out? You're doing well, you got a job, you're working okay now, but you're in a structured environment.
I got a 15-month-year-old boy.
15-month child or 50-year-old?
15 months.
Do you have any other children?
Yes, a 7-year-old.
Well, you had a 7-year-old when you were doing drugs and selling them. So what's the 15-month-old got to do with that? You had a child already before. That didn't stop you.
But I learned my lesson since then.
Tell me how.
By coming to jail and time stopping with
Went to
my,
jail the first time. You went to jail the first time, you went through a reentry program, you had the world by the tail. You went back to doing drugs, selling drugs. You can call it what you want, you were selling drugs.
yes, sir.
Gordon, what can you tell us about Mr. Derwin?
He's only been in our program a short amount of time. I haven't had much interaction with him because he's continuing to work. His work, employment has not made any, complaints about his work ethic. He also plans to, and he's expressed to them that he's gonna stay employed through them because he knows without this program, he'd have never got that job. So he's shown admiration for getting that job. But other than that, I haven't known this gentleman for very long.
Thank you, Gordon. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Roche.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Dora,
Yes, sir.
you were convicted and sentenced of contraband in January of last year. What was that for?
January of last year.
Yeah, it said January 28th in St. Mary Parish.
That wasn't in last year. That was back in 2016. That was what I was on parole for, and I violated on the 28th of.
What was the contraband?
What's that?
What was the contraband? Anybody?
Cigarettes?
Okay, it wasn't meth.
No, that's what I was in jail for.
So you were sentenced in July of 16 for possession with the intent to distribute meth, right?
Yeah, I was in jail for the meth, for the possession with the intent of meth, and I got charged with the contraband for cigarettes.
And then you were revoked.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Derwin, is there anything you'd like to say before we vote?
No, not really.
Thank you, Mr. Derwin. Mr. Derwin, based upon a high-risk assessment, your criminal history, and the fact that you've got a good time release date coming up fairly soon, my vote today is to be to deny. Good luck to you, sir. Mr. Lucia.
Mr. Chairman, my vote is the same for the same reasons.
Mr. Freeman.
I agree with my colleague. My vote is also denied.
Good luck to you, Mr. Derwin.
All right, thank you.
The Committee on Parole is called back to order. We are currently at our remote location is Caldwell Parish with the support staff of Mr. Glob. Is that your name, sir? Glob?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Glob, is there anyone there from Caldwell Parish in the room with you?
Yes, sir. Sergeant Caraway.
Good. I'm sorry, would you introduce yourself, please?
Sergeant Caraway, Caldwell Correctional Center.
Sergeant, thank you very much. Today's first, our hearing today is Mr. William Glob. Mr. Glob, if you would please give us your full name and your DOC number.
Yes, sir. It's William Lawrence Glove. Date of birth is August 18th, 1977.
Mr. Glob, let me explain our process to you. I'm in the process of trying to get my computer to.
Yes, sir. No problem.
I got you. Okay, it's coming up. Mr. Glob, let me explain our procedure to you. First, I'm going to read some information into the record, and the board is going to conduct a parole interview with you. After we've done that interview, you'll have an opportunity at the end to make any statement you wish to make for the board votes. Do you understand our procedure, sir?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Glob, how old are you, sir?
45.
And how long have you been in prison on these charges?
Since March of 21.
So what is that? How long?
A year and was it, I think maybe 8 months, I believe.
Okay. Why are you in jail? Why are you in prison?
Because I violated my reentry probation, picking up a new charge.
Well, let's talk a little bit about, Mr. Glob, you're a seventh felony offender, is that right?
Yes, sir.
At 45 years old. Tell me how that happened. Tell me who Mr. William Glob is. Why all the crime?
I had a problem with theft. Growing up, I was always jealous of what other people had and what I didn't have. My motivation, mainly, as I got older, was due to always trying to live above my means. So, just critical thinking errors on my part.
How many times have you been to prison?
Let's see. Three times? 4 times?
And how many years have you served in prison altogether, roughly?
Not related to this charge?
Every
Okay.
charge?
Yes, sir. 7.5, almost 8 years, maybe.
How much education do you have? How far did you go in school?
14 years.
Okay, you graduated high school?
Yes, sir.
Went to college?
I have 2 years of a business community college.
Okay. Have you ever had a real job?
Yes, sir.
What kind of job have you had? Or what kind of work?
I've had most positions. Prior to my incarceration, I was in car sales. But I've worked in numerous sales positions.
Of the programs that you've taken while you've been in prison, the various times that you went to prison, have you taken any kind of programs, Thinking for a Change, any sort of programs like that that would help you understand what your problem is or why you commit these crimes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, which programs were those?
So, on this recent incarceration, I've recently completed a cognitive behavioral program structured
Prior to this recent Let's
Okay.
talk about in the past, because I'm trying to
Okay.
figure out how you got to where you are today. I mean, you've gone to prison at least 3 times.
Yes, sir.
You would think that while you've been in prison, you would take some programs that would help you.
Yes, sir.
And then you
Um,
get out, you get revoked again, because you go back to committing crimes. Can you tell me why that is?
I think it's this particular time, I can tell you exactly why. As far as prior to this time, I don't think I really had the full knowledge, as far as understanding about thinking errors and, how I think and how wrong it was, as far as the way of my thinking. I have taken other courses, substance abuse to try to get a hold of my addiction. Even though
Let's talk about your addiction. What is your addiction?
my addiction is to always try to live above my means, which turns into me taking things that don't belong to me.
Do you have a drug addiction or alcohol addiction?
I've never done drugs or alcohol in my life, but my addiction is no different than any other person's addiction as far as somebody that does use. It's still a problem in my eyes.
So how long did you stay in prison in the reentry program?
I completed the program successfully.
Let me answer my question.
Yes,
Who
sir.
was your judge?
Who was my judge?
Correct.
Judge Knight in St. Tammany Parish.
Okay. Judge Knight initially sentenced you to the reentry program. How long did you get sentenced and go to Angola for?
2 years.
3 years.
2 years.
What did you do? 2 years. What did you do in those 2 years?
I completed numerous courses, a reentry program, substance abuse, thinking for a change, parenting. I completed numerous courses, followed the rules, never committed any other offenses as far as while incarcerated.
And how were you able to do that while you were incarcerated? How were you able to follow all of those rules? That's an outstanding program. That's probably the best program that we've got in the entire Department of Corrections. And you completed it successfully.
Yes, sir.
How did you do it? Did you fake your way through it?
No, sir. Determination. I did it for myself. I didn't have much support at the time. During that in time of that incarceration. But
When you got out, you went back to Judge Knight's court?
No, sir. Judge Knight had retired.
Okay, who was the judge then?
Judge Beers.
Okay, Judge Burris was the judge. You would
Yes, sir.
see him on a regular basis. Did you have a job?
Yes, sir.
Where were you working?
I was working in sales at Rainbow Chrysler Dodge in Covington, Louisiana.
That's a job you got through the reentry program, right?
Yeah, well, no, sir. I actually worked my way up to that position. I started small. I worked for another reentry inmate that agreed to help me. And then once I progressed with that, then I gained employment with other positions.
So you're working your way up.
Yes, sir.
How often would you see Judge Burris?
So I was in phase 4 when I picked up the new charge. Phase 4 sees him once every couple months.
Okay.
But we're still randomly drug tested.
No.
And
You picked up the charge. You committed a crime, right? What'd you do?
a misdemeanor domestic charge.
So what happened there?
I guess I slipped up, my wife and I got in an argument and I messed up,
What happened to all the anger management that you took? What happened to all of those programs that you took?
at that moment, I didn't think it through. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. You know, this is honest I can be with you, sir.
So how are you a different person today after having served a year and 8 months in jail on this new charge?
Well, I've had a lot of time to reflect and understand, my stupidity as far as, and I knew better. I knew I had all the tools basically handed to me, to have success in life. But now I just recently completed a cognitive behavioral program, which kind of reiterated a lot of stuff that I already knew. But this program here is mainly tailored towards thinking a better way for employment and other situations, everyday situations that may arise.
What was the new charge you picked up on the domestic violence? Or what charge? What was that?
No,
Your file say it was a felony. So what were you charged with? What were you arrested for?
I was arrested for domestic violence.
All right. Well, there are a lot of domestic violence. There's domestic violence involving strangulation, which is a felony. There are different classes of domestic violence. Your file suggests it was a felony. Was it a felony domestic violence charge?
The charge started as a felony, yes, sir.
So what exactly happened between you and your wife? Tell me what happened.
We got into an argument, and she went to go pick up one of these ceramic coasters that we had, and was starting to throw it at me. So I snatched her hair, and that was pretty much the end of it. And then the next morning, I tried to tell her that I was going to go get help and try to, solve the problem, but it was too late. So the next day.
What programs are you currently in now? What are you taking right now?
I'm actually just enrolled in anger management.
How long is that class going to be?
It will go on I think the ending date is December 14th, the second week of December.
You have almost unanimous law enforcement opposition. You test out very, very high risk. What's your disciplinary record in prison?
All right. None.
You do well under supervision. You do well in a structured environment. Apparently, when you get out, you have real significant problems. I mean, I show that you've been revoked at least, 4 or 5 times? Every time you get out, you get revoked. Is that right?
Not exactly.
Well, I'm showing at least 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Right, on probation. I did complete my parole satisfactory when I was released in 2006. So 1 out of 4 or 5. It's not really good either. So
That's fine.
Is whoever's there with you, she give us any information about you, how you doing there?
I'm not sure, maybe.
Lieutenant Downs.
Let's see.
Lieutenant, can you tell us a little bit about how he's doing there?
Be honest with you, he needs to take his anger management.
He's got some problems that y'all have seen?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And it's Lieutenant Downs.
Thank you, Lieutenant. We appreciate your comments.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Ms. Glab, anything you'd like to say before we vote?
Yes, sir. Actually, I was seeking to be granted parole upon completion of the anger management course that I'm currently enrolled in, and upon completion of participation in the work release program. I feel that after completing the anger management and the work release program, it'll give me an opportunity to not only save money, but give me a sense of responsibility, and save money from a hard-earned paycheck. So
Thank you, Mr. Blunt.
Lieutenant,
Yes, sir.
is there a transitional work program at your facility?
I'm sorry.
Is there a transitional work program at your facility?
We have a work status, but I'm not for sure of
there's no work release program.
transitional work program.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Bob, is there anything you'd like to say before we vote?
No, sir, I do know that they don't have a TWP here.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Blob, I've listened to you. I've looked at your file. You have had every opportunity that we can give. You've taken some good courses. You've taken Celebrate Recovery, Reentry, Thinking for a Change a long time ago. Not this time, but before. And then you get out, you still reoffend, and then you get into the reentry program, which is the best program we have. You complete all of that, you get back out, and you find another way of committing crimes. You have obviously, as the lieutenant pointed out, an anger issue, maybe not addressed previously, but it's something that needs to be addressed. I also think you need mental health evaluation and make some determinations that you need to look inside you to figure out what makes you tick. You talked about your addiction. I accept that. Hopefully, you might be able to get some healing with some mental health treatment. But based upon law enforcement Committee on Parole is called back to order. Our remote location is Tangipahoa Parish. Time is 1:17 p.m., October the 20th of 2022. Would the staff at Tangipahoa please introduce themselves? Mr. Moore, is there anyone in the room with you? Mr. Moore, you're on mute.
No, no, ain't nobody in the room with me, sir.
No one is in there with you? Okay. Mr. Moore, this is a revocation hearing. I want to explain our process to you. First, I'm going to read some information. This is a revocation hearing. I'm going to go over with you your parole revocation questionnaire. Do you have that before you?
No, sir.
Okay, we'll put it up on the board in just a second. Then I'm going to go over your allegations with you, at which time I'm going to ask you to either plead guilty, not guilty, guilty with a statement, or not guilty with a statement. Then we're going to have a discussion about your allegations. Okay, do you understand what our procedure is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we put up his parole revocation questionnaire? Can you see that, Mr. Moore?
Yes, sir.
Is that your signature at the bottom where it says Vidal Moore on August the 11th of 2022?
Yes, sir.
Would you take a look at that questionnaire? Do you recognize it as having filled that out?
Yes, sir.
Is all of those answers accurate?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a lawyer, sir?
Not present with me.
But do you have a lawyer? Was your lawyer supposed to be here with you? Or did you hire a lawyer?
No, sir.
Do you want to proceed today without a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to read you the rule violations. It's alleged that you have violated Rule 4B on February the 8th of 2022. Records indicate that you were charged with 2 counts of violation of a protective order. On September the 26th of 2022, you pled guilty to the amended charge of 6 counts of criminal mischief. How do you plead to that? Guilty or not guilty? Or guilty with a statement or not guilty with a statement?
I plead guilty to the criminal mischief charge in court.
Okay. So you plead guilty to that with a statement. You want to explain why you pled guilty? Is that what I understand?
Yes, I plead guilty right now.
Well, I'm not right now. I'm going through all the charges. I'll come back and let you state what you want to state. 4C, on May the 11th of 2022, the Tangipahoa Parish Sheriff's records indicated you were engaged in criminal conduct, which led to your arrest and subsequent charges of 2 counts of aggravated assault on a police officer, resisting an officer with force or violence. These charges were rejected by the 21st Judicial District Attorney's Office on July 13th of 2022. You plead guilty or not guilty to those charges?
Not guilty.
13, special condition. You would have had no contact whatsoever with Kishandra Robinson. You were in violation of this condition in that Hammond City police records reflect that you had contact with her on April the 18th of 2021 and April 27th of 2021. Records further reflect on April 28th of 2021, your parole officer was able to confirm Robinson was living with you at your address of record. Records further reflect during your time of incarceration, you contacted Robinson as evidenced by your new charges of violation of a protective order. How do you plead to those allegations?
Not guilty.
Yeah.
This case has been assigned to Mr. Pete Freeman. He will begin our interview process. Please answer whatever questions he might have.
Mr. Moore, how long have you been in jail on these charges?
18 months.
You've been in 18 months straight?
Yes, sir. Since April 26th last year.
Okay. So What led to these charges? What led to you having to plead to the criminal mischief? Charges.
Me and Keysandra, we have a child together. And when I came to jail, my child was sick, and like on our kiosk, that's where I got the no contact from. Like, they got the pictures of her sending me pictures of my child, her putting money on my books. And so that's why they dropped the no contact charges down to criminal mischief. And I just copped out to it just to get it over with. Cause I was just sitting. If I would have got it postponed again, I would have just got pushed back and kept getting pushed back. And my PO had told me I couldn't cop out to a crime against another person. So he feel like the criminal mischief, it ain't a crime against another person, just a low misdemeanor charge.
Correct. The counts of aggravated assault on a police officer, why did they arrest you for that? What was going on? And what were you stopped for, or what led to that arrest?
They happened in jail. I was still in jail when they happened. It was a misunderstanding with me and a staff member, but they thought I did something, but I ain't do it. So the next day after everything settled down, I explained everything to them. They went over everything, and they were like, they were gonna get the charges took off me. I ain't ever go to court on the charges or nothing. They just rejected all the charges off.
And what did they allege you had done? I mean, why did they originally charge you with it?
It was during court. And people kept on walking in and out. And something had happened. Somebody threw something. They thought it was me, and the police went to going off on me about the situation. It just went from one thing to another. It was just a whole big misunderstanding. I got maced that day for nothing, and it just blew out of proportion like that. And the next day, I talked to the warden. He went over everything. He talked to the other deputies that was in the room, and they were like, it wasn't really my fault. So that's why they dropped the charges on me.
Mr. Moore, I seen a letter in the file. Is Ms. Robinson now living out of state?
To the best of my knowledge.
Yeah, we have a letter in the file says she's moved out of state. Did you ever get a reprimand while you've been out of seeing Ms. Robinson?
What you mean by reprimand?
Like, did they arrest you and let you go? Or did they bring you to the office and reprimand you and say, hey, we know you've been in touch with it?
No, sir. I try to explain to my PO, like, me and her got a child together, and I was telling him, and he really wasn't telling me nothing. How can I deal with the situation?
I have a question.
Mr. Moore, why was there a protective order against you?
In 2020, we went through the same incident like this. She had put false charges on me. I had another female staying with me, and them two females got into it. And I'm breaking up, and I had got charges pressed on me. I stayed in jail 4 months. Then they
Let me ask you a question. How long were you out on parole?
I got out of jail in September 9th, and I came back May 20, like the end of May of 2020.
Like 8 months later, something like that?
Yes, sir.
From the time you got out to the time you came back to jail, were you working?
Yes, sir.
Where were you working?
I working at McDonald's, and I working with a man named Paul Miller doing building underground pools.
How long you been with Miss Robinson?
Since I came home, since I got with her when I came home in 19.
What are your plans to get back with her?
None, sir. I got other kids, and I can't keep letting her jeopardize me not being there for my other kids. Like when I came to jail, I had a 3-month-old daughter, and she don't even know me. I got 3 kids. I got a 9-year-old, a 2-year-old boy, and a one about to be 2 in December. That's the last child I just had. And when I came to jail, she was 3 months. And my 9-year-old, I came to jail when she was 6 months and came home when she was 6 years old. So I done missed all that childhood because of jail. And I can't keep letting situations jeopardize me not being there for my kids.
Did she have you, were you arrested for felon in possession of a firearm?
Yes, sir. Them charges, they got dismissed. They ran the gun and my fingerprints wasn't on it, or none of that. And I got the police report when they came to the house, I'm showing the police text messages where she's stating.
I saw the text
Yeah,
message.
we did.
And that's my question. You got a child with her.
Yes, sir.
How you going to be able to see your child and not be around her? I mean, if I were you and all of those things were true, I'd want nothing to do with this woman.
I don't, but I don't know
You
why.
got a child. So how you gonna resolve that issue?
Court, I gotta go to court. I gotta get my visitation rights and try to do, I don't know. I talked to my lawyer, he said he gonna help me out, get me in court and try to give me my rights and go from there.
What kind of work can you do? I said you were working at McDonald's, but you also doing some work with another guy on some stuff. What kind of job can you get if you were to get out?
I can get any job. I can go back to work with Mr. Paul. I can go back to work at McDonald's, Sanders and Bourne. I got people
Where do you live?
In Hammond.
With whom?
My mom.
All right. Thank you. That's anything you'd like to say before we vote?
I'm just trying to get back to my family. I ain't the same person I was. I'm older, I'm wiser. I've been in jail 18 months. I'm just trying to go home and do the right thing by my kids.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Mr. Moore, I'm looking at everything. And the bottom line is this, even if we revoke you, you've been in 18 months.
Yes, sir.
You're going right back out. Because your full term date was in 26 and you got out on your good time date. So they would just give you a new date. My suggestion to you, and you've already said it, you have a child with this lady. So you need to get either a court order or something to where you can have visitation with your child, still be in his life, but being around her is just not healthy for you. You end up right back where you are right now.
Yes, I'm done with that situation.
My vote today is to reprimand you and not revoke you and order you not to be around Miss Robinson.
Yes, sir.
Miss Robinson until you get something from the court giving you some visitation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Mr. Roche?
Mr. Chairman, do not revoke the same reasons and conditions as Mr. Freeman.
Mr. Moore, you have 2 votes not to revoke you. You've had a very good interview today. You sound like a very intelligent young man. You've had some issues. Sounds like you got some women issues. You got a bunch of kids out there that you got to work with. So, I hope that you've learned some lessons from them. You've been in jail for a good while now. So I hope you can get back, get to your job. So the vote today is not to revoke you with the added condition that you have no contact with Ms. Robinson until you get some authority to be able to visit your child. So good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that interview went. Oh, whoa. Okay. So that interview went amazing, guys. The young man was in, got caught up with his child's mother, and you know, things went for a turn. They were good, and things were sour. And so we have to be aware of these toxic relationships, people, because sometimes in relationships, people weaponize 911. Oh, I'm going to call the police. And then after everything is said and done, oh, I want him here or I want her here. And then you're going to court, dropping charges, but then something else happens and then you're back in the same situation. Absolutely. So we'll wait for court to return. All right. We'll give you guys a commercial. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome. Thank you all for coming by. I really appreciate you. Oh, absolutely. Please like, share, and subscribe. The Goddess Tulsa Show. Welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. Now is the time to go ahead and get ready for the show. We have some great news for you. Okay? We're going to have a great time. So I really, really, really appreciate you and your dedication to showing up. Gratitude. Don't be afraid to hit that cash app. And don't forget to smash that like button. Please don't forget to smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? It's definitely appreciated. We're going to wait for court to come back in session.
Yeah. Committee on Parole is called back to order. It's October the 20th of 2022. The time is 1:38. Our next case is in St. Bernard Parish. with the staff in St. Bernard, please introduce themselves. Are you Mr. Gerald Watson? Mr. Watson, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Somebody's working on it.
Say something. Can't hear you.
You never remember.
It's frozen now. Mr. Watson, you can hear us, I assume, but we cannot hear you. You're on mute. Checking that microphone ain't gonna work.
Get somebody to come in there.
And there's a gentleman, someone's in there with you now? Okay, he's trying to work on it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, here
There
we
we
go.
go. We got it.
Yes,
it,
sir.
okay.
All right, all right.
You are Mr. Gerald Watson?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Watson, would you ask the gentleman or whoever's there with you to introduce himself, please?
Yes, sir. Deputy Mallows at St. Bernard Parish Sheriff's Office.
Good afternoon, Deputy. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
This is the parole revocation hearing. Mr. Watson, let me explain our process to you. I'm going to go over with you your parole revocation questionnaire. Do you have that with you?
No, no, sir, but I
That's not, we'll put it up on the screen so you can go over it with me. Then I'm going to go over the allegations with you, and I'm going to ask you to either agree to plead guilty or not guilty to the various charges. Do you understand our procedure?
okay.
And then we're going to have a discussion about the allegations, and then we're going to vote.
All right.
Okay? Can we put up his parole revocation hearing questionnaire up there? Mr. Watson, can you see that questionnaire?
Yes.
And is that your signature at the bottom of the page on January the 26th of 2022?
Yes.
Is all of the information that's contained in that questionnaire true and correct?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Watson, at some point, perhaps at the entire proceeding, Mr. Gary Wainwright was your lawyer. Do you
Yes,
have a
sir.
lawyer today?
No, I don't have it today. He was supposed to be here, but he didn't show up.
Well, do you want to continue this matter and proceed wait until Mr. Wainwright gets here? Or do you wish to proceed without him? It's your call. I'm certainly not going to require that you have a hearing today without your lawyer being present.
All right. I'd rather wait till he come.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to continue this hearing until his attorney is at the hearing.
I second the motion.
All right. Mr. Watson,
Yes.
Based upon your request, which I believe is a very fair and reasonable request, we're going to continue this matter to another date. You'll be notified of that new date, and we'll notify Mr. Wainwright as well. And you
All right.
need to talk to Mr. Wainwright to make sure that he can appear on that date. If he's got a problem on that date, he needs to contact us and let us know.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that was the last member on the docket. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you all for coming out, showing up. And I will be letting our members know first about our lives, You'll have the link, you'll have all the good perks. So our members will definitely have first dibs on all the information. I just ask for you to please like, share, and subscribe, and make sure your notifications are set to all. As sometimes I go live just randomly, it could be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the morning. But if you don't want to miss the queen when she goes live, please make sure you have your notifications set. All right. I'm your host, Queen Tulsa, and this is the Goddess Queen Tulsa show. And that concludes our show. I'll see you later. So long. Hello and welcome. Thank you all for coming by. I really appreciate you. Oh, absolutely. Please like, share, and subscribe. The Goddess Tulsa show. Welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. Now is the time to go ahead and get ready for the show. We have some great news for you. Okay? We're going to have a great time. So I really, really, really appreciate you and your dedication to showing up. Gratitude. Don't be afraid to hit that cash app. And don't forget